building that we're standing on is the very edge of the blast circumference. This building would be gone if the pipe exploded at full pressure. And most of what you're looking at, not now, but okay, there, a good, let's see, those tall buildings, see those tall buildings out there? Those would be gone over there. So it would take out a big chunk of this. My name is Jenny Davis. I am a building superintendent. In fact, I'm the superintendent of this building upon which we are standing. We are currently in the West Village. If you look out here, you can see that a lot of the buildings here are very short. That is because in the 60s, this neighborhood was saved from the wrecking ball by Jane Jacobs. Which is interesting because right now Spectra Energy wants to put a pipeline over coming in at Gansevoort Street, which is about 10 blocks that way, which has the potential to blow up and eradicate this entire neighborhood. Much like the pipeline that exploded in San Bruno, California last September. That was a slightly smaller pipe than the one that they want to install here. It's frightening. It's very frightening. The San Bruno pipeline blew a hole 4 blocks deep, 4 stories deep into the ground, and killed 8 people. In the 60s, basically the West Side Highway was scheduled to go through this neighborhood, right down the middle of it. It wasn't going to be called the West Side Highway then, but they just wanted to wipe it all out, and the plan was to put in very big high-rise buildings, make it really modern. So it would be probably like the Upper East Side is now, with all those buildings from the 60s that are pretty characterless.
So, right, so why did that not happen?
Because Jane Jacobs lived over on Hudson Street, and she loved this neighborhood and thought it was of historical importance, and fought very hard. Made it her crusade to stop that from happening, and she actually did. So
a lot of people got on her side?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think this issue will gain the same kind of momentum?
I hope it does. It should. And that was even a planned destruction. That wasn't catastrophic destruction, which could happen with this pipeline. I saw that blast radius map, and I had heard about the San Bruno pipeline before that, and I was scared. This is my home, and this is my responsibility. I take my job seriously. This is what I take care of every day. I care about the people that I take care of. There's 300 people in this building that I feel responsible for. And if there is something that is endangering all of us, I think it's important that people know about it. And a lot of people in this building don't know about it. A lot of people in this neighborhood don't know about it. I've been informing people as much as I can. Sometimes I do feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries because it is my work. But still, I do it. I think it's really, really important. I think it's important that people are informed and can make their own decisions about it.
How do you go about talking to people about it?
If people are ever talking about energy, if they're talking about the news, if, you know, I'll be like, have you heard about this? You know, it is in the neighborhood, it's coming to the neighborhood, and it's really dangerous. And I think, you know, there's a petition online if you want to sign it.
Do they ask you, well, what's the alternative, and those kind of questions?
Most people don't, surprisingly. Some people know already. We have, in this building, talked about doing a green roof or doing the white coating to make it a little more energy efficient. We have talked about getting solar panels. Unfortunately, in this neighborhood, things like that are very hard because it is all landmarked, which means they're historic buildings and you have to get city approval to change anything on the exterior. So that does limit what we can do here, but we are still looking into things.
That's wild. So when is the West Village going to have solar panels all over it?
I don't know that it ever can or will. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to hope that everyone else that is eligible will put up solar panels.
Well, that sounds crazy. I mean, it sounds like that's the reason why we have the pipeline.
I could see that that's part of it. Yes, there are, you know, there are a lot of ways that people can justify things that maybe shouldn't be justified.
And so, wait, but that really is interesting. I really don't understand, because it's a historic neighborhood. Then
It's a historic neighborhood. If you change anything to the exterior, it has to be approved by the Landmarks Commission, which is a board that's run by the city. I think it's called Landmarks Preservation Commission. All of these buildings are, this building is from 1898. You have to get permission to do anything to the exterior, down to changing the mortar between the bricks, changing the bricks, changing the windows, anything that you do, you have to.
So why do you think they would not give permission to solarize these buildings?
Because the panels would be on the roof, it might look ugly. It would depend on how you did it, whether the sight lines from the streets. What's confusing to me is that they would rather blow the whole neighborhood up. You know, really. They would rather have a pipeline that could potentially wipe out the entire neighborhood that they've been fighting since the 60s to save, instead of allowing a few solar panels on roofs. It looks like there's a green roof over there too. Okay, see where the blue netting is on that building?
Oh yeah.
Go to the building to the right of it. I think that's a green roof on top of there.
And that's maybe better than white roofs, right?
It actually is better than a white roof, because it
makes more
absorbs
sense.
wastewater. It keeps water out of the system. It keeps runoff, I guess, and it reabsorbs and gets sent back into the atmosphere eventually.
And it also cools the roof. You know?
Oh yeah, it definitely cools the roof, and it cools and insulates the roof.
I think there's lots of green.
Well, there's a lot of green. It's not all, you know, what is considered a green roof, where it's actual dirt and planting, but there are lots and lots of, that's Donna Karen's studio over
And you said there might
so
be
that's,
solar panels around somewhere?
I remember seeing some.
That's reflective coating?
The reflective coating. So that building on the corner there, all these little ones over here, this here, the side of that is the reflective coating. I see like 10 buildings from here that have it.
So these are steps towards what
Yeah.
would potentially be self-solarized buildings.
There's one over there. Well, at least it would be passive solar, if nothing else.
What does that mean?
Passive solar means you don't have solar panels that are collecting energy, but the building is built in such a way that it doesn't need to be cooled or heated as much. It can self-cool and heat.
So a lot of these roofs became white recently.
I think that one is newly white. I don't remember that one being white. That's been that since for a number of years. But it's been something that's been talked about for a while now. Hi, this is the West